John F. Kennedy, Mother Jones, George M. Cohan, Ronald Reagan, and Francis Fitzgerald all made significant contributions and impacts in our history and way of life. All the names listed also share something else in common. They're all of Irish descent. Many of us have Irish in our blood, I myself included. My great-great-grandfather, Leroy Prather, came to America as a farmer in pursuit of a better life. Tonight, I would like to inform you of the specific reasons that the Irish chose to immigrate to America. Those reasons include the land itself, religious persecution, famine, and poverty. And before we can fully understand their motivations to leave homeland, we must first understand a little bit about the landscape itself and how it played a role in their motivations. So let's take a look at Ireland. According to S.J. Conway, author of the Oxford Companion to Irish History, Ireland is a very unique landmass with many economic limitations, which has molded a particular lifestyle for the Irish. Ireland is a small landmass and a small island, roughly the size of Maine. It is 302 miles from north to south and 171 miles from east to west. It is cold and wet. It rains an average of 250 days in the northwest and 171 days, or 190 days in the southeast. The average winter temperature is 40 degrees. The average summer temperature is 60 degrees. The soil is surrounded by limestone, which rolls up around the edge of the coastline like a rim and dips back down towards the mainland into the center of the land itself. The rainwater washes minerals downhill and creating a hard layer of sediment below the surface, which prevents drainage. The accumulation of this standing water over time has given the soil an acidic value, which prevents most traditional crops from growing. Trees are rare due to the acidic content of the soil and the lack of minerals. Typical industrialization and manufacturing of metals and fossil fuels are virtually non-existent. The land contains little to no elementary deposits. There is no coal, iron, or petroleum. Lumber is scarce and offers no means for export. With little to no economic means, the land does offer an abundance of two organic vegetation. Peat moss is one. Peat moss covers 1/6 of the land, and this can be dug up and used as burned as a fuel source. Two, the potato. The potato crop has the ability to grow within the acidic soil and mass farmed to ultimately be their main food source and source of consumption. Now we can see how in Ireland life is pretty much dependent on peat moss, at least at this time. Life is pretty much dependent upon peat moss and the potato. Now let's take a look at how the land plays a role in accordance with the other motivations to immigrate to America. Now the Irish people were devoutly religious. Catholicism was the main ruling religion of the region. This of course, was until the Catholic Church, the persecution of the Catholic Church in the 17th century. Well, there was a civil war in the mid-1600s, which ultimately led to the execution of the Catholic King Charles I. The new ruler to take his place was Oliver Cromwell. Now, Oliver Cromwell was a commoner turned soldier who became a statesman. He was devotedly Protestant. Now his first mission when he became the new crown ruler of England, Scotland, and Ireland was to convert the ruling religion of this region to Protestantism. Now he would do this by force and with great means. Now the Irish, they would remain devoted to their religious roots. This created a lot of conflict for the new lord, and soon religious wars would break out. Now the Irish were sought out and punished, even murdered, for their insubordinations. In a series of brutal battles, Lord Cromwell put down Irish insurrections, slaughtering thousands and imposing savage punishment on his devout enemies, states Edward Lakeston, author of the Famine Ships. Now Cromwell went on to institute the Act of Deportation, which began the Irish immigration in their early state. During Cromwell's rule, over 100,000 Irish were deported to America, which at the time was still under Great Britain's rule. Religious wars and battles would rage on for years to come, including this Battle of the Boyne in 1690. At one time, barely 5% of the land remained Catholic. Religious persecution and war quickly led the Irish into poverty. In the year 1695, King William III would introduce the penal laws. This set of laws would create an extreme monetary and lifestyle hardship for the Irish. Catholicism was now barred completely. Catholics were not allowed to purchase land, vote, or hold any form of political office. They were not allowed to own a gun or join the military. Their land was confiscated, let, and sublet. This took the land that they once owned in full and divided into thirds and fourths. Now this is significant, as Lexington points out. The average family needed to produce 6 tons of potatoes a year to stave off starvation, which makes sense how this would be a significant reason. The less land that they own, the less crop that they can grow, families begin to suffer. Now England continued to tighten their grip on Ireland with taxes and cheap labor. High property taxes were imposed on property and goods. The Irish were paid minimal wages to grow the potato crop and raise livestock to be shipped back to England. So now we can see how their land, religious beliefs, and poverty play a major influence in their want to immigrate to America. But there is actually one more very significant reason, which caused an urgency to get away never seen before, and that was the potato blight of 1845. Also coined the Great Famine of 1845, brought upon by the emergence of the blight, would cause starvation and death by attacking and killing the potato crop like a virus. And according to Merriam-Webster's dictionary, blight is the rapid and extensive discoloration, wilting, and death of plant tissue, as can be seen in the photo. Now remember the significance of the potato with the average family needing 6 tons to survive. We can begin to see now how important it is to leave the land. The potato blight of 1845 lasted for 6 long years and caused the worst famine ever recorded in Irish history. The Irish were starving to death, and the majority couldn't sustain life in Ireland. With all these hardships compiled, the great exodus to America began. Now it is clear that the Irish have endured many hardships throughout their history. The hardships of the land itself created a particular but limiting lifestyle in accordance with religious persecution, poverty, and famine, which pushed the Irish to leave their homeland and immigrate to America. Through all the sacrifices and loss, the Irish never gave up hope, and they never gave up the fight to survive. The people of Ireland, in my opinion, truly personify the fighting Irish. And that concludes my speech.